Welcome to the video. So I'm wearing my high school prom dress. I did not enjoy prom, so at least it's going to some kind of use. I don't know if I'd call it good. I thought I would look the part of talking about The Bachelor. Obviously, I don't quite fit the description. They declined my application, so basically the show starts out with 11 minutes and 30 seconds of just like a Chris Harrison hype show. He's trying to create this facade of like hype all over the country, like we're throwing viewing parties all across the country, like trying to make you feel like you're involved in something, that this is something special, when in reality no one cares about this thing. We all just kind of watch it because it's dumb and it's like a tradition on Monday nights to watch The Bachelor. 11 minutes and 30 seconds of just like people screaming that, woo, we're so excited! And then like, here's Chris Harrison's mom for 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Finally getting introduced to the girls. And I'm not gonna go through all of them because the reason why they had to create so much hype in the beginning was to make you think this genuinely was going to be a great episode of The Bachelor, when in reality it's full of like the most bland vanilla girls, which makes sense because Colton is basically a mayonnaise D-grade Chris Pratt. The only interesting thing about him is that he's a virgin. I dare you to watch the show and take a shot every time they mention that he's a virgin. You'll be wasted 30 minutes into the 2-hour special. We're going through the introductions, and the first one that irritated me was Hannah from Alabama. And they're like filming her in front of a random highway. She's 23. I want you to look at her and then look at me. She's a whole adult and I'm 7 years old. And then she mentions that he's a virgin. We also spent a whole minute and 15 seconds of airtime on Miss Alabama Hannah. And we spent like 30 seconds on a girl who was actually tolerable. Her name was Katie. Heather, she's from California. She's 22. I don't really have that much of a beef with her, except they usually put people's careers in that little lower third with their name, but instead they just put never been kissed. Like that's her identity, that's her job. Psh, me either, you ain't special. Onyeka, we love her. Except she mentions his virginity. We've got Nicole, who says, being single if you're relatively attractive is hard because there's so many singles in Miami. Like, okay. And then we've got Demi hot dogging for Colton Burnett. What? Also, if you describe yourself as a country girl, you lose like 10 country points. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. It's the same with punk kids. If you say that you're punk, then like you're not. He's a virgin. Quote, which is concerning, unquote. Okay, get over yourself. Now we jump to introducing Chris Pratt's uglier cousin. I'm sorry, no, Colton. First thing mentioned, he's a virgin. Then we jump to more filler content of Chris Harrison and 12 minutes of people screaming. Finally, we're getting to the introductions where the girls meet Chris. That was a genuine mess up, actually. The girls meet Colton for the first time, getting out of the limo, whatever. First we have Demi, who's wearing something that looks like she got it from like Forever 21. Basically, the first thing she says to him is, I haven't dated a virgin since I was 12. What a creepy thing to say to someone you just met. Like, imagine she like heard about him being a virgin from a mutual friend. She's never met him a day in her life, which is this scenario. She has never met him a day in her life. And she walks up to him in this bar, introduces herself, hi, my name's Demi. So, I haven't been with a virgin since I was 12, but I'm willing to give it another shot. Ooh, oh, by the way. And as she walks away, he goes, oh boy, I'm in trouble. He's clearly uncomfortable by this, but he's like trying to be a team player because there's no other interesting thing about him or this show other than, oh, he's an adult man who, how old is he? He's a 26-year-old virgin. And that's the only interesting aspect of the show, because out of 30 women, there's only 3 that cause drama, and that's the whole reason you watch the show, right, is to see drama. So only 3 people are interesting, basically. You've got your 4, like, good people, but no one watches this show to see, like, good-hearted people. I mean, yeah, you want to pick someone to root for, but I couldn't pick anyone to root for. Like, maybe Cassie, but she was a little too, like, virtuous. I'm like, homegirl's hiding something. So then we have Kaylin, spelled like that, who was Miss North Carolina, of course, and she's wearing the sash that says Miss Underwood on the back of it. I'm gonna skip through most of these because everyone basically comes up to me and they're like, oh, I'm so nervous. And then we've got Cassie with the butterflies, and like, okay, but if you're gonna do it, like, commit to real butterflies. I'm sure the producers could have hooked you up, Holmes. And he keeps one, which is really cute. Then we've got Caitlin, who pops his cherry. Are you kidding me with this? Oh, okay, here we go. It's only okay because it's on this show and televised, but imagine this scenario. 2 random strangers who have never met in a bar, and the girl walks up to him and tells him she wants to pop his cherry. If that was done to a girl, and bless him, he's like, I thought that was an apple. And then we've got Katie with the just took your V card. Leave the man alone! And Alex, the sloth, took 10 years off my life. I mean, like, I get committing to a role, but that was too much. You can tell he is over it. He's like starting to talk to her and kind of like lean forward like, okay. They even take a commercial break halfway through her entrance. And then once she gets up to him, she could have dropped it and been like, okay, it's me, this pretty girl, but she keeps it going. Alabama Hannah, who I just realized looks kind of like a knockoff Aunt Becky from Full House. Miss Alabama, who was also a pageant girl, did not wear her sash. So there's a little bit of beef when she first walks in and she sees Miss North Carolina freaking wearing the sash. I don't like either of them, but props to Alabama for not wearing the sash. Thank you. We've got Tracy the cop, who was the worst because she did not commit to the part. I mean, at this point, I'm almost rooting for the sloth because she stuck to it. This girl just drives up in a cop car and then is wearing like a nice outfit. Like, no, you gotta wear the police uniform. Okay, you gotta have the badge, you gotta have the aviators. Don't do it if you're not going to commit. Then we've got Brie with the fake and terrible Australian accent.
The accent is Australian.
And then Hannah coming up to him and giving him an empty box saying, I know this is your favorite kind of underwear. So, like, Hannah basically introducing herself and being like, hey, I know you go commando. Right after that, she's like, I just want him to know that I'm thinking about him. Cool, no doubt. Jane photoshopping pictures of their dogs together gives major Michael Scott vibes from the time that he photoshopped his face onto his girlfriend's ski picture with her ex-husband and her kids. Kathryn, who looks like Cinderella's stepmom. Cinderella comes in the carriage, but then calls herself Erin. Commit to the role, Cinderella. Anyway, it's lame and cliche, and she leaves a shoe with him like, okay, Cinderella, but then she walks around all night on one shoe. Just take the other off. It's fine. So, the hangouts. Erica is so bothered he's a virgin. She talks about it with the other girls. And so the first question she asks him, like she gets him sat down, she's like, so yeah, this is cool. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. So, why are you a freaking virgin? Ugh. And then he and this other girl, Hannah, do this cute little, like, breathing technique. Well, it's not cute, but, like, I guess it was cute for them in the moment. And he doesn't kiss her, but then he goes and kisses Miss North Carolina just out of nowhere. They're, like, mid-sentence, and he just grabs her face like a freaking virgin. He's about to lose his mind. Still being a virgin at 26, he's like, someone just take it. So he kisses Miss North Carolina, the first girl he's kissed all night. And he's talked to a lot of girls up to this point. And he doesn't give her the first impression rose, okay? And then the sloth is in the tree. She's clearly a thespian. She's still talking slow, and I want to die. I mean, I guess I respect the commitment, but just... So then he sits down with Kathryn, the dog lady, for the first time. And so a girl comes and steals him, and Kathryn comes and steals him back. I don't like Kathryn, but kind of a power move. I can sort of respect that. And she's like, I've never had to fight for someone's attention before. Yeah, I can't relate. Colton just keeps his head down because he's weak. Another girl steals him from Kathryn. Whenever they're interviewing Kathryn about it, she doesn't even talk about the fact that he got stolen from her. She's just like,
I would never wear a snorkel unless I was, like, actually snorkeling.
So she comes and steals him a third time, and he lets her because he's weak. Third time's the charm, I guess. I don't remember the girl's name, but she tries to have a one-on-one conversation with Kathryn about this, as if that has ever helped. And it ends with the most disingenuous smile and hug. They clearly hate each other. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do. He's my priority. I don't care whose toes I have to step on to spend time with him. Even if it means I cut in front of, like, 4 girls and make everyone in the house upset and ruin the night for everyone else as long as I get what I want. You know what she reminds me of? 21 Pilots fans. Anyway, so she steals him a 4th time. This time, she doesn't care about spending time with him. She's clearly doing this out of spite because of the conversation, but everyone's like, what? What did you expect? What did you expect her to do after you have this conversation with her? Like, you know, you're making some girls mad. She's like, okay. I mean, you already don't like her, so she might as well. And Colton is such a freaking pansy for letting this happen again. Honestly, it's disrespectful to the girl he's sitting with and to the other girls he hasn't talked to yet. I get, okay, 1st and 2nd time. 3rd time, still not okay, but, like, I'll let it slide. 3 times, okay. The 4th? Are you kidding me? He should have said no. I guess 4th time's the charm. What a freaking Verge! Then he kisses a girl in a black dress. He gives the first impression rose to a girl he did not kiss. It is the girl he did the breathing thing with, which I thought he was going to kiss. Could you imagine being one of the first girls he kisses the whole night and he doesn't give you the first impression rose? So he's like, no, you didn't make a good first impression. You're the first one I felt compelled to kiss. He kisses a second girl. You would think, okay, that kiss didn't do it. This is another girl that compelled him so much to kiss her after meeting like basically every other girl. They even cut to a shot of the rose after that. No. Just imagine like being one of only 2 girls he kissed and he gives the rose to some other girl. He gave the rose to a girl he met towards the beginning. So I guess she stayed in his mind the whole time. Ugh, I don't know. He kept a plastic butterfly, which was cute, but no, that wasn't enough. Kissed 2 women. This girl I did this like weird breathing technique with because we were both nervous, even though literally everyone kept talking about how nervous they were. She's not special. He gives the rose to some rando. So that's cool. So speaking of roses, we're at the rose ceremony. He gives the first 2 roses to the girls he kissed. So like, okay. He waits like halfway through names of forgettable girls I'd forgotten about, to give one to Butterfly Girl. Like, I'm assuming at this point he still has that plastic butterfly right here and he's just naming off like 15 other girls and he's like, oh, this girl whose memento I've been holding on to since the moment I met her, right, you. And then Chris comes in to announce the final rose as if we don't know. But of course, I think this is when the producers, like, you know that he's gotta have like a earpiece in this whole time in order to like remember girls' names and stuff. You know he didn't memorize all 30 names. The producers obviously during this time whisper in Colton's ear that he has to keep Kathryn because you know he doesn't want to, but he does because he's spineless. And then it shows girls leaving and the sun is up. Did that take all night? People make fun of girls for crying, but imagine being like a little drunk and then just horribly sleep deprived. Yeah, I'm gonna cry. Oh, costume change alert. So it's the next day. I'd been editing the video and I realized that I didn't quite make the point that I wanted to make at the end. So I'm gonna do it today, and I'm not putting the dress back on, and you can't make me. I got a little carried away because just so much of that show drove me crazy, and I had a lot of fun heckling it, but I did have a point to the chaos, even if I went off the beaten trail a few times. And it's that The Bachelor has turned into a caricature of itself. It has its own memes, if you will, and it knows it, and it's taking advantage of that. It's different than reality shows just being crappy. This is a show that has developed an exact formula that they know the viewer wants to see to the T. Problem is, you can't do the same thing over and over and over again without losing interest. So, especially with this season, with so many bland people involved, they had to create so much fake hype around it in order to disguise the fact that we're basically watching the same thing over and over again. It's a bland mayonnaise guy dating like 30 vanilla girls, with the exception of a few villains, in order to find love. Even the villains are just still vanilla. Can I say locals? Is that... I'm still not 100% sure what locals means, but I'm assuming that you could call most of these girls locals. Basically, it's how it's always been. It's just this time it's far more intentional. They could literally care less about the content they're cranking out because they know people are gonna watch it anyway. This year they just tossed in more Chris Harrison and added a sprinkle of sexual harassment and called it a day. I've enjoyed our time together. I hope you have too. Would you please accept this like button? Also, if you subscribe, you get to spend a night in the fantasy suite. And by that, I mean that we stay in our separate houses while you watch my videos and I remain safe. Thanks, brats. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Don't be fooled, fellas. I might be in a high-class prom dress, but I haven't shaved my legs since October.
I put my foot in my mouth